Next set is gonna be hotdogwater versus Neblime, the rematch.
Go. I think hotdogwater is undefeated. I believe.
That might be true. I think, well, not in games. I know she's
Oh,
dropped at least a
matches.
game, but in matches that is probably true. What do we got? Yep,
Look at.
5 for 5. So definitely a strong player. Um, I don't think I've seen too much of the of her ZVT. I think I saw maybe one set. So this will be cool. It may have been the set versus Neblime.
Sounds familiar. I remember casting her versus Neblime. So, oh, gotta join that game. Here you go. Yeah, she's just a really good player. Definitely at the bumping the upper edge of the A team skill level.
Yeah, I know everyone on Team Beast speaks very highly of her, and every game that I've seen of her, she's playing quite well. So it's gonna be good to see. This is a rematch, so Neblime has played, and we'll kind of know what to expect. Like both these players know each other. They've spent at least 2 weeks preparing versus each other now, so this could be a really good matchup. So let me actually just change the score. You want to start the introductions while I do that?
Absolutely. In the far corner of Chowcross, in the 10 o'clock position, as the brown Zerg, it's hotdogwater from Team Beast.
And in the upper right position, the yellow Terran, Neblime, for Team Scientology Vessel.
One funny thing about hotdogwater, basically, when every game that she starts playing, she tabs out and starts playing other games, like on her phone, and she has like 30 APM.
I don't know if
I
it's that.
swear.
So, I've seen this too. The very first time I saw a game from hotdogwater, I was being told, hey, you should check out this player in the CPL, like, she's really strong, maybe even too strong for the league, so I evaluated on that basis. Um, and so, yeah, I watched the initial start of the game, and I saw like 50 APM, and I was like, interesting, how's this gonna go? And then by the end of
Yeah.
that game, it was like 300. Maybe we should have begged for an opponent swap. Maybe neither of these players are excited to rematch. Interesting. But what I think it is, I mean, Hot Dog's actually in the chat, so feel free to correct me. But I know that Hot Dog has an Osu background, and that gives you a lot of accuracy. That gives you a lot of really fast mechanics. And if you kind of think of StarCraft as a rhythm game, where there are things you want to do and then you go and do them.
Mm,
If there's nothing happening, there's no reason to click. A lot of players try to spam, just stay warm and keep a rhythm up. But if
right.
you are able to just do the things as they come, 30 APM is probably the actual actions you need in the first minute.
True. Yeah. I mean, she gets it done for sure. I mean, the results don't lie.
Yeah,
And
the unit control is always fantastic. We do have this drone kind of like sneaking past the scout, I guess, making sure he doesn't get harassed. So that's nice. And opting for the faster pull on this map, I think we've mentioned it before, but there is the potential for a supply block here at the choke. So if you go 12 hatch on this map, you are inviting some harassment. You got to be a little careful. We have some SCVs coming out. I'm not sure if these are just to block. They're building a bunker, I would assume.
ooh, the
So,
second Reign of Neblime was super delayed.
oh, is that just
Um,
starting now? Yeah, that is
yeah.
that is bad. So actually, a lot of SCVs are going to have to come down here. The bunker will go up with this many SCVs to defend as well. There shouldn't be too much of a problem. But the Marine also needs to get in there.
Okay. Yeah. It looks like Neblime's just making this defense really hard for himself. Okay. One will get in. Already lost a lot of mining time.
Yeah, I'm
Lose
actually
an
gonna.
SCV.
Wow, really good to pick off that SCV right at the edge of the Marine range. So it's little things like that I think put hotdogwater at the top of the A list. Just having the presence to see that opportunity and taking it. You know, that all compounds as games go on.
I mean, right now, Neblime also has 2 idle SCVs. Okay, just put them back. Had 2 idle SCVs in the main as well. And I think the very edge of the CC is not hittable by the bunker.
Yep. So Neblime is pulling 1 Marine just to get the harassment, but now the SCV is going to go down. 2 more Lings are actually going to come up, and this Marine is really not going to be able to deal with this until he has some friends. So this is a big delay. A couple SCVs going down. Finally, some Zerglings are dying. So Neblime should be safe at this point. No more harassment is expected, but decent damage with the early Lings. A lot of times, once that bunker goes down, you're not getting anything done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what his Marine production's been so slow. Been really patchy, and that's critical to get those Marines up. But I think about 3 SCVs went down for a handful of Lings, and a lot of lost mining times. But yeah, like you said, really worth it for hotdogwater. And probably gonna see her go into the 3-hatch Muta style with the in-base hatch. Pretty comfortable with that. Ooh, actually we see a Hydralisk den go down, so maybe some lurkers. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely looks like a lurker build. This is timed pretty well, so the Hydra Den should finish right about when the lair is done. But the SCV Scout has been in the space. You know, those Zerglings were all forward into Neblime's natural, so he's just been unharassed until now. So he's seen everything, and Neblime should be able to react to this very well. Actually, really good SCV micro as well to keep this alive as long as possible versus the 2 Lings. And we are going to see that lurker aspect starting right away. So nice tight build. Going to have lurkers at a very reasonable time.
Ooh. Gonna lose another SCV to some Lings. Maybe even 2. Yeah, gonna get out of there.
Yeah, I'm only losing a single Ling for that, so that's a really good trade. Just these little attacks are doing so well. Looks like Neblime is gonna move out here, which I kind of like. You have to be a little careful because he's just lost scouting. So, you know, assuming that there are a lot of resources going into lurkers, maybe even a 3rd base, this is fine. But you know, if hotdogwater sort of mind games him and makes a bunch of Lings here, this could be very dangerous. I expect to see medics coming out as well, but the academy is actually pretty late. So that's gonna delay the push. You really can't move out without medics. This M is like much weaker than M and M.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like Neblime might lose another scouting. Okay, actually, hotdogwater gonna pull back with those Lings, and he's gonna have to get a forward bunker because the medics are so slow, and getting a fire bat as well.
This SCV is actually gonna see the drone that's coming down to make a 3rd, so that's really nice to know where that drone is going, and also to maybe even harass it some. Ling is going to come help out, make sure that SCV goes down, but that's great scouting from Neblime. The forward bunker, I think, is really necessary versus lurkers. You don't want to rely on a single bunker, because if that goes down, you just die.
Yeah, and getting the fire bat is a nice touch. You know, going to be so much better against Lings. The lurkers are out, so sending 1 lurker down the southern way. I'm not sure if that's okay. Just gonna meet up. Looks like they just split. And there's a missile turret, so it looks like for the first wave of these lurkers, he's perfectly fine against.
Yep, and I do like how he's trying to push out just a little bit here. He's gonna actually catch lurkers unburrowed. Really fast reaction though, so they are gonna get away, but you know, stopping those lurkers from burrowing in range of your bunker is a big deal. He's going to chase these down. It looks like he might be trying to pressure that 3rd base. Going to have the lurkers burrowed at the bridge, but not across of it, so it's really not the best positioning. Going to snipe the fire bat though. Really, really good. These Lings are going to get much more effective.
And yeah, okay, so this force of M&M. Oh, diving forward here, Mike.
Oh, the second lurker is going to do a lot of damage. The first kill was nice, but Neblime needed to pull back. Actually spent the scan to try to commit to killing both, but needed to pull back from the second one. Meanwhile, Hotdog's actually taken another path to get 3 lurkers in position. So this base is pretty safe now until at least the tank is out.
Yeah, there might be some hold lurkers here. His Marines
Oh,
are
that
going to
would
get slaughtered.
that would be pretty nice, but no, it is just a standard lurker is gonna let Neblime know that that base is untouchable for the time being. Great hive timing out from Hot Dog as well. So throughout all of this, taking up the hive at really nice timing, and managing to get quite a few drones. A little bit of a difference in saturation at the natural and the main, but that's fine. Once you get the Nidus up, you can move those. Um, so at this point, Neblime has made a good follow-up actually going for tech, but I would have liked to see him make some tanks. He's actually floating his factory going straight to Starport.
Okay, now it looks like hotdogwater is coming in with a really large force of Lurker Ling, and she might dive in the natural here. There's 3 bunkers, but if she gets a good position up, this could be bad.
Yep, 4 lurkers burrowing here. There should be enough to deal with this. It looks like Neblime's macro may have slipped a little bit, but 2 of these bunkers have units in them, so that's a decent amount there. And then this roof down here on the south is pretty scary to deal with. Actually going to go for the sandwich, the hug of death with the links screwing up the movement, and just great unit control there. Going to kill most of those. Honestly, that fight should have gotten a little bit better for Terran, but that was just pretty fantastic control from Hot Dog.
Yeah, and she can move these. I mean, since she has that position locked down, she can move these 3 lurkers at the 3rd up to try to sandwich that remaining M&M force, and her lurker count is getting really high. Just something random note, she's not, I mean, her unit control is fantastic, but I think she can actually burrow those lurkers quite a bit faster if she would use that trick, but actually going to lose all these lurkers for only a couple of Marines.
Yeah, that was great from the Neblime coming up from both directions, having a really good spread, so manages to wipe those out with very few losses, so a good win from him, really good control.
Yeah, it's going to be pushing forward with this force of M&M. I'm not sure if you saw that. What I was referring to was there was a Team Liquid post that showed that if you use a certain directional input for the lurkers when you burrow them, they burrow like twice as fast.
Oh, I didn't read about that. That's interesting. That
yeah,
is not something I knew.
Trying to get into the whole after the Total Recall thing came out, was trying to get their own thing.
Zergs need new tricks too. That's crazy,
Yeah.
man. A 20-year-old game and still finding little stuff like that. Like, I'm sure people knew about that one. I was just out of the loop. But there's just so many things like that that can take you by surprise. You think you know it. Hot Dog is going to shut down this CC. I don't think that was canceled either. Neblime doesn't really have that many minerals. So that's pretty big. And you know, with a 3rd base, so that's 3 gas and the Nidus to defend, that is a great position as a Zerg player. That's exactly where you want to be. And this is kind of where, you know, while you're getting all of this happening, you've sort of ceded map control, and Terran should be expanding and getting really strong positions, getting their full tech and upgrades. But unfortunately, Neblime's had his 3rd denied and delayed, so he really doesn't have that advantage. And so now he's actually down a base, facing pretty much a full tech Zerg. Ultras are coming out now, and all he's really got at the moment is M&M. He doesn't have vessels. He's got the first vessel coming over now. He doesn't have tanks, and they don't do very well against Ultras.
Yeah. Okay, the lurker's burrowing, and this force is just going to get rolled.
Yeah, that Lurker Ling Ultraless force is incredibly strong. You absolutely need some mech and some irradiate versus this, and unfortunately Neblime was a little bit late to get that going. Like I said, I really, when he saw that the Lurker opening was happening, I was happy to see him make that factory so fast, but I would have loved to see him make some tanks. Tanks do so well against Lurkers, and you're not really worried about that Muta threat. So I think that was a bit of a missed opportunity, but now we have a very aggressive move in onto the bunkers. It's possible this is an overextension depending on how many units are in these bunkers, but that 3rd bunker is actually empty, and Ultras are just doing so much.
The pathing, though, that was really screwed up. As far as the Ultras, they took way too much firing time there. Yeah, I think that was a overextension there. That you know, angle coming in for Tower Cross is so weird to attack into. That bunker was kind of blocking the path of the Ultras. But the critical thing here, honestly, is that the 3rd's still denied.
Yeah. Yeah, Hot Dog is keeping Neblime pretty pegged in. A nice last lurker spine there. So Neblime's pushing out, but with losses, and when the Ultras come back, they're going to be able to harass this pretty well. Bunch of Ling reinforcements coming, and a fourth base behind this with a lot of drone saturation. So Neblime is way behind in the econ game. He's starting to get some vessels built up, which is exactly what he needs to do. But it looks like this force from Hotdog is going to deny the third once again. Might be enough to even kill him if those bunkers are empty.
Okay, the force coming in here, and yeah, there is nowhere near enough M&M.
Get some fire bats into the bunker and gets an irradiate. So a lot of these Lings are going to die here, which is a really good defense. But I don't know how much is left. I see a bunch of medics up there, but not a lot of units that can actually fight. And irradiates now are a bit of a liability because they're not just killing the Lings, they're killing the M&M.
Radiated Ultralisks is into the mineral line as well, getting quite a few SUV kills. And I think these Ultralisks will tusk their way to victory.
Oh, and here come the Scourge to take out the vessels. That's really all that Neblime has at the moment, keeping him in this game remotely. So once that vessel cloud is getting thinned out, with no hope of getting a third anytime soon, I think this might even be it. These Ultras will ultimately get cleared out, but there's going to be more where they came from, and throughout all of this, Hotdog's securing that fourth base.
Would you even say they're the ultimate weapon?
I would not say that, but thanks for the suggestion. Yeah, this is the reinforcements are just enough to keep Neblime pegged back, and Hotdog's just been growing throughout all of this. So I think this is basically it. Both players are playing well for the game state as it is, but there's nothing Neblime can really do to correct this. Like, that third being denied is the nail in the coffin.
Tell you what, man, this path is so horrible for Zerg to attack into. This is going on for so long. The Ultra's bugging out so much, but we'll get it done. I mean, she will get it done. And yeah, probably gonna see GG here pretty soon.
There it is. So a nice game. Both players had pretty strong control. Hotdog had a couple of wins early on, and Neblime had some good lurker kills. I think Neblime really needed to go for tanks, and something about his macro just seemed a little off. Like you said, the early marine production, and occasionally I would go back to his base and I would see some idle barracks. So I think those mistakes just really cost him.
Yeah, his SCV production was actually subpar as well, from what I could watch. As opposed to, being really optimal in that. And yeah, I mean, it really just snowballed, like you said, from the beginning. But now we're going into match point, which is it's another tough match. It really, I think most of the TVZs I've watched on here have been really fun.
Yeah, well, TVZ is always fun to watch.
Yeah,
regardless of the
matchup.
map, it's just so high action. It's really fast paced. It's hard to play. It's very frustrating to play. On this map specifically, it always comes down to the third. Like, the general ZVT meta is about the Zerg's third, and if Zerg want that gas base, it's far and with 2 ramps. So that makes things challenging for Zerg. But there's ways of playing around that, like lurker openings and just really good muta control. It's a great map for mutas. The natural is pretty hard to defend, so we'll see if Hotdog goes for that tech route this time or sticks with the lurkers.
Yep, and to introduce our players down here as the Teal Zerg in the bottom position of match point, it's hotdogwater. Also in the chat as Ayanura.
And in the top right, we have the white Terran, Neblime. It's currently down 1 game. But yeah, this is the 4th official game that these 2 have played. So I don't know if there's any special preparation we have planned. I don't know. The first series, Neblime went down 2 games to 0. But he opted to go for that standard play in game 1. No cheese. So I like that. The confidence to just go for a strong game versus an opponent that's beaten you before is good.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Putting his supply depot by his Nexus, which I kind of think is weird, or command center that is. It's almost better just to default going with the wall. I think, the barracks
Yeah,
wall.
the wall. A lot of Terrans do swear by the wall in ZVT, but generally you're not gonna be able to do like a full wall. Like there's very few maps that support a ling tight wall. So having a sim just by your mineral lines is usually good enough versus any sort of really early Zergling pressure. As long as you have decent micro. The supply depot does let your SCV spawn a little bit closer to the minerals. And if you're walling, you're actually a decent distance from your SCVs to go down to this choke. And it's rampless too. So I think this is fine. But you do have to have some confidence in your SCV micro to pull this off.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does open the door for the Zergs in a certain way. But I guess the thing is, on match point, because it's a 2-player map, you can get a fast scout. You'll get a fast scout. So I guess it's a lot more feasible on this map as opposed to something like Fighting Spirit.
Yep, absolutely. And you're right that there is an option there. Whoa, we have... Okay, so I saw gas being mined. I expected to see ling speed, but that is a really fast lair.
Whoa. Okay.
And actually going to kill the scout SCV. It was trying to harass the drone, but this drone isn't making a hatchery. This drone is faking this out so that this fast lair comes out. So hotdogwater gonna pull out the cheese. I'm not sure what this is gonna be. You don't see one base lair almost ever.
Yeah, that's strange. I mean, ultra fast lurkers, something like that, or
yeah, I mean. You're not going to be able to make a decent mutaflock off of one hatch, so I would assume it's some sort of lurker play. Good defense out from Neblime is going to have that bunker ready to go and a bunch of SCVs to defend. He's making sure that nothing can stop him from getting the CC up. So if he defends whatever Hotdog's going to throw at him at, well, he's going to be in a great position because I mean I can't overstate enough how economically behind a standard play this puts you as a Zerg.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. The only other thing, maybe like a Overlord drop, possibly.
It is going to be a Spire.
Oh.
So this is going to be a really weird, like 2-hatch Spire, but with the layer before the second hatch. So that's a build that I can't say I've really seen before, but it should work out. Just looking at the gas, there's going to be about 600 gas when the Spire finishes. There will be just about 6 larvae. But there is an SCV coming out, and it snuck past these Zerglings. This is going to be enormous.
Yes, this is a huge deal.
He's going to see that hatchery timing and be like, huh, that's a little strange. And when he sees the Spire, Neblime's actually in a great position here. He's got to know that all he has to do is just put up some turrets, keep his M&M safe, and he's going to be able to just command the mid-game.
Yeah, slaps down to eBay, and probably an Academy as well. There goes Academy. So you'll be really good. And man, hotdogwater's got to be tilted here. I mean, she would have been in a really good spot. I think those mutas could have done an insane amount of damage if it hadn't been scouted. But that SCV slipped by.
Yeah, I mean, you can always do some damage with mutas, but with this much time to prepare, turrets are going to be up. Actually going to lose an Overlord here. This is big because you do not have the minerals or larvae to spend at this time. It looks like the first 6 mutas did go down right before this Overlord. And actually the Overlord is barely going to live. That's surprising. That cliff activates really quick in terms of blocking sight. So that's enormous. So kind of lucky there for Hotdog to get away with that. But this is just going to be some mutapump. There's barely any drones. We have only 1 turret at the natural, 2 going up in the main. Actually, no, sorry, there are 2 turrets in the natural. So that's going to be plenty versus the first 6 mutas as long as the M&M come into fight too. Just with solid micro and some medics to bolster this, I think Neblime's going to be fine.
Okay, is it just me, or is there a little angle that the mutas could get behind there?
Yeah, this map is very good for mutas because the natural is pretty hard to to defend the mutas against, because that high ground area blocks all vision. But you know, investing into the turrets and there only being 6 mutas to start means that Neblime should be okay. 1 turret goes down, but mutas are getting hurt here. He just has to remake that, make sure he keeps up his M&M production. It seems like he has too few Marines. Does he still have Marines in the bunker? This is not a ton of Marines.
His macro's been a bit subpar. Maybe it's because of the earlier.
Well, they're certainly coming earlier, absolutely. But this was a 2 racks build, rather than just like that 1 racks into 5 racks. And I would have expected to see a few more. He needs to be a little careful. They're actually getting whittled down pretty fast here. He needs to pull back. He's being aggressive with them, and he needs to keep enough alive so he can get critical mass. He also needs those upgrades to finish. You need Stim and range to fight against this.
Is Stim done?
I think I saw Stim.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like
Stim before range.
Yeah, range is coming. So I mean, this barracks at the front has been idle. He's actually building more barracks now. We still only have the 2 turrets in each base. Killing a medic, I heard. That's a nice pick off.
Lost it. I think she's lost total of 3 mutas. Now 4, because she's been replenishing them slowly.
Yeah, I mean, this Muta Micro is actually fantastic, but I think the real story is just not enough M&M. You know, you can't be pressuring the mutas outside of turret range when you have 4 Marines. You're just going to be losing the Marines.
Losing quite a few SCVs here.
Yeah, the SCV count isn't the biggest deal. It looks like if I go back to Hotdog's base, she did find some time to drone up behind this, but yeah, the Marine count is the problem. So now we see the full clear of the M&M. It's only reinforcements at this point, and we're gonna need some more turrets. But the muta count has thinned pretty severely. More mutas are coming, but it looks like a lot of the recent larva was being spent on drones.
You know, with that natural is wide open. The barracks is silent. The bunker does not have any Marines in it. If she made a round of lings or dived in with a couple lings, she can get some serious SCV kills, which she actually may.
Yeah, there are some lings kind of poking at the front here. They're gonna, if they notice that bunker isn't shooting at them, that's gonna be disastrous. Because not only the SCVs, they can also target the turrets, and if those turrets go down, this muta threat becomes really big. I think the Marine production is just not where it needs to be at the really critical time. So the fact that Neblime's cut a few Marines, he's getting supply blocked right now, that's giving Hotdog a big window to do damage where she really shouldn't be able to.
Looks like now he's filling the bunker, so that window of time has passed. I mean, imagine if hotdogwater realized that. That would just be so disastrous. And yeah, like you said,
massive supply block. That supply depot is going to finish, you know, just now. He's been at 44 supply for a long time.
Yeah, losing. So I mean, he's probably lost like 10 SCVs just to these mutas, and not as big of a deal as the drone count. But I mean, I think going this build really early mutas, you got to be confident in muta control. And for someone like hotdogwater, it pays off because, you know, she does pretty amazing things with mutas.
Yeah, the muta control is there. At this point, this is a bit of an overextension. I mean, there's not that many Marines, but there's also not that many mutas. So he's going to trade these out, but there is a turret to keep them from killing SCVs. These medics can stay safe too. And I don't know if being this aggro with this count of mutas is worth it. You really want to just keep that number high enough that when you move in, it's actually really dangerous. But Neblime is going to have to put quite a few more minerals into more turrets. He's still feeling the pressure. You know, these stims are moving forward with like 5 Marines is not the way you want to handle this. Like, these metas are totally out of energy.
Okay, so we got some Guardians morphing right now, and this is really nice.
Yeah, you know, this kind of game plan, you know, if you're up against, if the Terran can get enough M&M that you're just not able to harass anymore, you're pretty much dead. But Hotdog's been doing a great job keeping the Marine count low enough that now that we've teched up to Guardians, I'm not sure what Neblime's going to be able to do. He's got the starport, but by the time that actually makes a Wraith, these Guardians are going to do quite a bit of damage to the natural, and there's really nothing he can do about that until a Wraith comes out.
Yeah, I mean, this was executed just so smart from hotdogwater. I mean, pulled back all the injured mutas that she had, and then morphed all those into Guardians. Actually getting a little bit overextended here. Lost the Guardian.
Yeah, Guardians are pretty retarded, so losing a couple Guardians there to turrets is not great. We have a counterattack out from Neblime, so this is actually a cool move. You know, he has barely any units to defend against this. He's getting killed by Guardians, but he's going to come and deny this third. So if this goes down, that's a great win for him. We do have one Sunken that's trying to morph. Not being targeted, it's going straight for the hatchery, and the mutas are coming down desperately to try to save this. It's going to be down to the wire, and it looks like the mutas are here in time.
The Marines aggroed onto the Sunken. Muta's win AFK though. Okay, she will save this. Plenty of time. And one Wraith is out, so gonna clean up those Guardians.
Yep, so the dust has settled. Guardians have been dealt with, but Hotdog is gonna keep that third. And Neblime is facing a decent attack coming in. That's a lot of Muta Ling, and he really doesn't have M&M after that failed attack on the third.
Okay, she just needs to regroup here.
Actually going for a tank this game, that's interesting.
Almost loses that Wraith. The turrets are still not up in that yet. She should attack before the turrets are up. And losing the last medic she had. And now just microing that turret down. The SCV line is so thin.
What is this? What is this Guardian in the middle of
every
the...
time Muta gets low, she morphs it to Guardian.
Yeah, but you typically don't want to do that at your opponent's base.
That's a man or Guardian.
That's a little aggro. It looks like it might work out though. There's just so much here. Science Festival is out, so Neblime needs to make sure that stays alive long enough to get the irradiate. And yeah, that Guardian goes down immediately. That's a little too much. But so much damage has been done. We have two ports coming out, but look at these barracks. They're not making anything. Neblime doesn't have the money.
This is like Detroit right here. But yeah, these turrets are going down in the main, and yeah, there's nothing. Science Vessels are so late. I don't even think he has a radiate. Guardians morphed again. He's got a Devourer too. Like, this is just kind of manner, his styling.
Well, the Devourer is the anti-Wraith and anti-Vessel. It's definitely worth, if you're doing this full air strategy, to get at least one Devourer. It is not being microed though, so it's gonna go, okay, barely survives. The Vessel count is starting to grow, and that is gonna cause a problem for Hotdog.
These two tanks just went totally AFK.
Yeah, that is odd. I saw him building tanks. I really don't know why Neblime was investing in tanks this game. He made 0 tanks against Lurkers, and now he's making tanks versus pure Spire units. So that is not the best decision.
There's like, there's so few SCVs.
Yeah, he's taken so much damage. His minerals are starting to pile up now, and I mean, he needs to reach that critical mass of units, and he's just never gotten there. He's just always been bleeding a little too much versus the production of Hotdog, and he's trying to deal with these couple of Guardians, but you know, there's just nothing that he can do against it, and in this high ground situation, Marines can't attack that. He's not gonna have enough Irradiates to deal with all of them. Do we have another Wraith on the way? We don't. We have pure Vessel Pump.
This high ground, I mean this what's called behind the natural spot is going to give Neblime nightmares. It's so good for Zergs.
It is very tough to deal with, but you know, this situation is only because that critical mass wasn't reached at the right time. Neblime just needed to have some more M&M early. You gotta prioritize that. And now some Lings coming in and some Hydras as well. They're gonna be able to push back the vessels. More and more SCVs going down while all of this is happening. And I don't know, I think this might be too much. We actually have a 4th base in the upper left corner coming out from Hotdog as well. So consistently aggressive, but also expanding behind has just been the theme of these games. Honestly, I think Neblime would have been okay if he just was a little bit less aggressive with his first M&M, fighting out of turret range. Just getting those picked off just caused it to be run away.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I keep tabbing out, and that's why everything's lagging.
All good. It's the end of the game. But GG's, well played. Both players had solid plays, showing that they're strong. hotdogwater's a very tough opponent. But I think Neblime gave a good showing. The only thing is, I think his macro was just a little bit too low in both games. I think he needed to be a little bit more consistent with that marine production.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so that is the Beast vs Scientology 18 games. So that series basically goes 1-1. We had the one walkover that was awarded, I think, to Team Beast. So Scaramanga did not show at the game time. So for 18 games, that's an official 2-1 for Beast. And then in the B team, which were casted previously, there was actually a 3-1 for Scientology Vessel. So Vessel actually took that series 3-4. So a good match.